Classic truck rescue. Hey, I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone today. I've got a customer in Texas, I believe, that wants a 1955 through 57 GMC Cab. And I thought I'd go ahead and show you some things to look out for, because I'm going to do a video description on this thing. There are so many things to look out for on these cabs for 55 to 59 Chevy and GMC trucks that you would have to take 100 pictures. Maybe not 100, but a lot of pictures. And so I thought, since I'm cleaning this up and pressure washing it, I've actually got two guys that want GMC cabs, but one's hounding me a little harder than the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and I've got the cab. It was sitting on the back of that parts truck right there. That cab was sitting on the back of this parts truck right here. So I went ahead and got it out, but it was kind of overgrown. So I went ahead and pushed the truck out, got the cab off of it, and got rid of the bushes that were there while I was at it. There's still some good bones on that guy right there. There's Boomer 1. I like that truck. Anyway, so I've got my cab up on Pumpkin, and I'm going to take it up to the I'd say shop, but I don't have one of those. I'm going to take it up to the pressure washing area and get it cleaned up. And then I'm going to show you what to look out for if you're trying to buy 55 to 59 Chevy or GMC cabs. And the only difference between the Chevy and GMC cabs are the dashboards. That's a Chevy dashboard over there. You'll see the GMC dashboard in a minute. Somebody cut that one, chopped that one. And I know the roof looks real hooky because they sectioned it together, but the doors actually open and close on it really good. So we'll have to do something with that. And if you're looking for a 1955 to 59 Chevy or GMC cab, let me know. But at least follow these precautions. Let's get it up there and get it cleaned up. Yup. Okay, I'll get that disconnected from the tractor, and then I'll start pressure washing it and go over it with you. I'll be back. Alright, got her all unhooked. Let's get her cleaned up. Truck Inspector General on the job. It doesn't even have to be a whole truck. Come on, sweetie. Come on. Come on, Anna. Get out of there. It's going to get wet. Alright. You are just silly. Come on. Come on. All right. You'll get the message. You will get the message. Ah. That's a messy job. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do the rundown on the floor from the bottom of the cab over here before I put the cab down and clean the inside. Now it's gonna look worse because it's wet. That's my experience. If you look at old metal, what is actually surface rust looks worse when it's wet. But I got to do the bottom now because I got to flip it so that I can clean the rest. What's in there? What's in there, Anna? This cab, whoever winds up with it, it's coming with an Annabella Truck Inspector General decal because she has been all over this cab. She wants to know what the deal is with that. What is the deal? What is the deal? Come on, you got to get done because Dad's got to do some describing. I know. We'll send one of your decals with it. She's been all through the inside of it. Up in the speaker cutout, everything. Yeah, I had a little trouble with my camera there, but I'm back. Probably going to have to shoot the rest of this video tomorrow after the sun comes up because it does get dark quick out here this time of year and it's creeping up on me. Anyway, here's the bottom. I already described this cab to the customer. I told him it wasn't perfect, but it's pretty nice, and I think everyone will agree. Cab corners, I told him, are in need of replacement, but you don't often get, when you go to buy a cab, you don't often get a view of the bottom of the cab. But if you're going to lay out a good chunk of change for a cab, I suggest donning some coveralls and manning up and climbing under whatever truck you're getting it off of, or you know, just try to get a look at the bottom, because you can have a floor that looks perfect inside and then is just ready to punch through on the bottom. But this is actually a very solid floor. This brace has a little rust on it. I didn't notice any rust on the inside. I've still got to clean the inside of the steps, so we'll do that tomorrow. But when I see something like this, it makes me want to check closer on the inside of the steps. The rockers are a little bent on both sides, but they're both really solid, and that's easy stuff to straighten out. But the steps, as you can see, are very solid. That one's, there's a little bit of rust on this support on both of them, but I would be willing to bet that you could get that off pretty easy. It's just spot welded on there, and I know they make replacements for it. One thing you really want to look for is the cab mounts and these things that tie pieces like the steps and the actual floorboard together. Those really tend to rust. These are pretty nice. Here's some more reinforcements right there. Another reinforcement and another one. You really want to look at all those reinforcements. Also, these are cab mounts on the back, so you want to take a good look at those. It's still a little crusty. It needs more cleaning up, but this actually, for an inner cab corner, is actually in pretty decent shape. It's not all up in there, which is the floor. And that one's not bad either. I see a hole right there, but it looks like it was drilled into me. Maybe somebody had something weird going on there. Another area to check is the front cab mounts. And this is also a support that goes underneath your floorboard in the front. And check those, make sure they're good. Those look pretty good to me. Well, that one does. Here's the other one. That looks pretty decent too. Real solid down there. Another critical area, this is where your fenders mount. Your front fenders mount at the bottom in these holes right here. So you want to check and make sure that both of those brackets are good. Those look really nice. And here is another problem area, the hinge pocket area. This is where your water runs down from the vent. Water goes in there, runs down here, and comes out here. And these get plugged up, which means they wind up with this soggy mess sitting there that rots this out. And this is the hinge pocket. This is where your door hinges bolt on. So it's really important that that structure be solid, but it often is not. That is a very problematic area. Always check your hinge mount, your hinge pockets and your hinge mounts. That's still got the little splash shield on it, so that's a good sign. This big hole in the bottom of the floor is not where somebody went crazy. I can tell that this was a highly optioned truck. I got it as a cab a long time ago, but I know that it was a highly optioned truck because it has the V8 accelerator linkage. And I leave the chickens alone. And you guys get out of here. Men at work. Men at work, huh? Huh, Anna? What are you guys doing? Anyway, what I was saying, I could tell I had a V8. And this big hole right here isn't where somebody went crazy with a saw. It's there's two plates that go right here. And these are the keepers right here for the screws that screw two plates. And the reason for that is because at the factory they assembled all the hydromatic shift linkage onto the column, and the only way you could get it through the floor, and it was huge, and the only way you could get it through the floor was by having this extra wide opening. And then they had two plates that were split down the middle, and they put them in at the factory after the column was installed. It does look like it might have a couple extra holes, but like I said, this was a highly optioned truck. Also, it still has the holes for the deluxe chrome trim on it, but I don't want to show you the inside because it's not cleaned up yet. Or the back. The back's actually pretty nice. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, we're going to check this other hinge pocket, and that looks good to me. We'll get the tow board while we got this good view of it. It looks really good to me on the outside. We'll do the inside tomorrow, but, well, it'll be in this video, but the firewall and the tow board look really good to me. They always, I mean, these are 60 some odd year old trucks or close to it or something like that, and there's always extra holes somewhere. I mean, guys, for years and years and years, see, this one has the threaded mounts for the underhood reinforcement rods on the GMC only. They didn't put these on Chevys, but these two holes attach a rod that goes from the firewall to the radiator core support. Just little extra things that GMC did, and not trying to make anyone mad, but GMC made their trucks a little more heavy duty back in the 50s. They just did. Anyway, I'll be back. Good girl. All right, Dad's got to go back to work, honey. And we're back. I've got the cab all cleaned up, and I actually pressure washed it, blew it out with my leaf blower, and it's washed and dried. It's still got a little dampness in some pockets, but I did find a couple of issues with it. that are going to need some attention. The floor had a bunch of leaves and stuff in it, so I couldn't get a good look at it. We did look at the bottom of the floor from the bottom of the truck yesterday, and it looked really nice, but there's heavy pitting and some pinholes up on the toe board up here. And this is something you want to look at. If you're looking at a truck, peel the carpet back, take a look. But that being said, once you get up there, the floor's perfect, and there aren't any gaping holes, so I don't know that I would cut this out and replace it. I might, like if I was building it for myself, I'd just put metal over it, tack that to it, because, well, actually, what I would do is I would just take this all down to bare metal, and not the pits, of course, you're going to have some rust left in there, but I would coat this whole floor with Pour 15, because I've used it before, and I'm not trying to sell Pour 15. It's just a good product, and this to me seems like an ideal application for that. The dash has one issue around the radio hole. I think that a radio delete plate would cover that, but I also do have a section of dash if a guy was wanting to have the factory hole. The rest of it looks pretty good. I can tell this truck did have one of those factory correct 1955 to 59 Chevy and GMC spotlights that kind of have the shape. They have a mirror, and they're kind of shaped like the front fenders. Other than that, the dash looks really good. But when you look at the dash, you want to check out everything like these little tabs that hold the deluxe heater controls in place. Stuff like that can add up to work, you know. So you go over all that. You don't, and this is both from a buyer's perspective and a seller's perspective. I'm just showing you what to look for on these trucks that can add up to time. That right there wouldn't be a deal breaker for me if I wanted the cab, because I could fix that. And this cab has a lot going good for it that more than makes up for that. You want to check your window channels, especially on a big window, because that glass has got to be solidly mounted in there. This window channel's in excellent shape all the way around. And the front, one area to look for problems is right up under there, the header for the roof. They rot out right in the middle up there, and also on the inside. This one, you can tell, had the speaker, and I don't know what happened. Somebody got a little chop happy there and cut out a little more than they needed to. But it's pretty solid, and they do make a patch panel for that section. Usually if it's rusty, it's all the way across, or spreads out quite a bit from that hole. They do make a patch panel for that area. The rest of the roof looks real good, especially around the window channels, and up there you can see where the window channel is. Pretty nice shape. So it's not a perfect cab, but it has a lot going good for it. Like I said, the hinge pockets are awesome on this thing. I got as much of that one cleaned out as I could. There's still a little debris in there, but you can see the inside and the outside that it's in real good shape. Still a little wet. There's still water running down the plenum from when I cleaned out the cowl yesterday, but all of that's in real good, solid shape on both sides. There is one spot on this step, and you really want to look at these steps. Yesterday when we were looking at the floor, I pointed out how there was some rust around one brace. That comes into the cab right here, but it's a very small spot. I would definitely not chop these steps out or the rockers off. I would just fix that little spot right there. I believe the other step, oh, and also there's still a bush in there, but that cab corner, that hinge pocket is also solid and in good shape. This lip, yeah, a lot of times they just get smashed. Well, see, this one's got a whoopty right there, but I've seen these just get smashed before. That one's in decent shape, except for that one spot right in the middle. I could fix that pretty easy. And right here, they're prone to cracking. Matter of fact, some GMC trucks had a plate piece of steel right here with rods that attached to it and went down to the frame. but this one's solid in that area. Also on this one, oh, here's another area too. This gets covered by a garnish molding, and here's your heater ducts. This cab still has the heater ducts in it. That blows the air up here, and then you have a garnish molding that fits into these clips, and that kind of helps distribute the air around the cab. But you want to make sure these aren't rusted out right here, because that really affects your heating system. But this lip is also real good all the way around. Real important with all this curved glass that it's firmly, you got a good seat for that gasket. Okay, well, and also another thing you want to check is these mounts back here, or they're reinforcements, but you want to make sure those aren't all rotted out. Those look pretty good. They got some pitting on them, but they're pretty decent. Too bad about that floor. I thought this had a much nicer floor in it, but like I said, I would fix that floor. I wouldn't go cutting this cab apart. So oh, there's also a little ding right here, right there, and I saw another ding on it. There it is, right here, but I would think that could come out pretty easy. So there it is. That's what you want to look for. And when you're looking for a cab, especially if it's a big window, a lot of people talk about, oh, just chop this off and replace this. Man, if you've got one that was originally a big window cab and the roof and window openings are still in good shape and you don't have to mess with it, don't mess with it, because I've heard some nightmares about people chopping roofs off and never being able to get the glass to fit. I know you can. I know you just have to take your time and do it right, but I'm just saying, if you can get an original big window cab that hasn't been chopped apart, you're way ahead of the game. Hope this was helpful to people. It shows you what to look for, not only if you're buying a cab, but if you're selling one. You got to describe every little thing that you see is wrong with it, because it all adds up to time and money, and a lot of guys don't do their own body work, and you know, they've got a body man that has to deal with all that, and you don't want them to be unpleasantly surprised when they get the cab. If anything, you want them to be pleasantly surprised. So it's worth it to just point out every little flaw on it, and you know, take a good video, because a cab is a little too much to take pictures of. It can get overwhelming. The best way to describe a cab is to walk around it with a video camera and show every bit of the cab, if that makes sense. That does make sense. All right, Classic Truck Rescue, hope this helps some people out. Peace out. This cab was off of a truck that I called Rollo. I bought this truck in Eastern Oregon, and it had zero rust anywhere, no rot anywhere on it. So I came over here to look at it, see if it still had the floor in it, because I had sent this to a shop where I let someone take some parts off of it to use for my Boomer project truck that's still under construction. But so it's got the pieces for the floor for that one that I just described in the video. Yeah, it's got the complete floor in it. So, and also there's a good floor section right there. So I do know that if a guy wants those pieces to go with that cab, I can send the pieces with it. I just don't, on that one, I think I would just take some proper gauge steel and clean all that up, pour 15 in it, and put some flat steel over the top of it before you lay your carpet down. That's what I would do if I weren't trying to make a concourse show truck. Anyway, have metal. This is an alternative dashboard. This is the only difference between a Chevy and GMC Cab is the dash, and I had a guy that is looking at that cab and was wanting to make sure I had a good Chevy dash. This one got a couple little holes right here, no dents. I don't believe it has any rot. I just did a quick once over it. Sometimes I see things the second time I go over something with the camera that I didn't see when I first looked at it, but it doesn't look like any extra. There's a couple little holes drilled below the radio opening, but all of those are in pretty good shape. It's got the tabs for the heater controls, the stuff for mounting the glove box hinges there, and no rot on the bottom. That's something you gotta look for on these dashboards. A lot of times, you know, all the water runs down there and sits there. So, no rot on that one. And this one was actually removed real well, where it seemed like the emphasis, the tabs for the instrument cluster are good. Seems like somebody, whoever removed this, was being kinder to the dashboard than they were to the cab, if that makes sense. It was properly removed. It's got all the, they took all the spot welds loose. Pretty nice dash. Almost forgot. Another thing to check on these cabs is this cage nut right here. That is one of the main bolts for your fender. Your fender bolts on down there with a bolt that goes through the backside and into the fender, and up here, and then your inner fenders bolt onto those brackets right there. So it's really important that those be in good condition right there, because a lot of times that whole area is rotted out. These are in pretty good shape and the threads are good. Also, all of the holes for the seat tracks are in good shape. The threaded holes where the seat tracks go in. It's really cold out this morning. One thing I did forget to mention. What are you doing? One thing I did forget to mention, check the roof. Yeah, it's cold. It's cold. It's like, it's early and it's cold outside, but I'm making the video on this cab, on this cab buyer's guide video thing. And this roof, you know, I thought I noticed a slight ding somewhere up here. I'm not feeling it though. Oh, maybe just a real slight ding right in there somewhere, but this roof's in pretty good shape. Maybe a little something right there. Yeah, right here. I guess you can see that. Little ding right there. But what you want to check on the roof, and also there's where somebody mounted an antenna on the front. I'll get there. But you do want to check these drip rails right here. And this is just tape on this. All of this door track is good. But you want to check these drip rails, because water collects there when they're sitting for a long time, and those can rust out real easy. But this one's in pretty good shape. Like I said before, you want to check this header above the window right here. This one's real solid. Your window track. Here's that hole where the antenna was. I don't know if you can see that right there. I would think that would be a real easy fix. As you can see, it's the size of my pinky there. Anyway, so I came out here to potty Annabella and make sure I covered everything on this. Now, is there anything else while I'm at it? I think I've pretty much covered this cab. Alright, I'm going back in. Is it still in there?
Yeah.